Heyo everybody, Haku here with my review of yesterday's chapter of Tower of God, and that was chapter 271, which was Season 2, Episode 191, and we are still in the Dollar Show. Still a great arc. This may be a bit of a quick review because the content and talking points of this chapter, there wasn't like a ton. The entire chapter was just sort of a bottle episode, where it was just Pedro, Evan, and Yuri. Those are the only characters we had. It was just about the Yuri versus Pedro fight, and the majority of it was like action panels with no dialogue or anything. So doing a review on a chapter like that is usually kind of short because there's not as much information to have to go through. I've got to say that I thought this chapter was really good, but it was really short because of the nature of what it was, and I thought the art itself was a bit hit and miss there. Like, there were some really good panels, and then some panels that were blurred to have the effect of the quick motion or the impact, but I think the blurring hurt the art of it. So there were a few panels I didn't like that much, but overall it was on the better side when it comes to art. It was exciting, but we didn't get a ton of story progression. And I'll go through all of that while I'm breaking it down and give my final thoughts at the end. And before I start breaking it down, though, I gotta say that upon first reading, you saw my live reaction, I was a bit on the fence with how I felt about it just being the fight, and I enjoyed it, but I think I enjoyed it more rereading it another time or two while I was taking my notes. It was more enjoyable rereading because I already knew that all we were getting is the fight, we're not getting anything else, and I was able to just enjoy we didn't get a lot, but I was able to enjoy the bit we got. So the first panel of this chapter is actually my personal favorite panel of Pedro that we've ever gotten. I thought that it looked really nice. That first panel was the clearest we've seen him, and I thought that was a really good choice. I just thought that after seeing him more clearly there, we should have just seen him like completely clearly the rest of the episode, or the rest of the chapter. But they still had a few panels here and there where he was like sort of shadowed out a bit. I don't know the proper term there. But basically, Evan like brings up, hey, do you want me to scout around, gather some information? But Yuri just goes straight in, head-on attack. That's her style, and she fought the Purple Dementor head-on. It was a really cool fight. We find out that the Purple Dementor can shoot Shinsu beams, and that basically its special thing was that it had poison in one of its claws. But of course, Yuri proves that she's smart as well as strong. She can tell that one of the claws isn't attacking like the rest, so she grabs it because she thinks that it's probably some sort of hidden weapon, and she blows it apart, tears it apart to find that the poison's in it, and is perfectly fine. So, yeah, Yuri completely wrecks the Purple Dementor pretty much. Now we find out from things that Pedro says that the Purple Dementor is an ancient observer, and that it's from a time of war from before he said before families or guilds could protect people. So that makes me think that this is kind of a big reveal, and it's a big reveal in that we don't really know much about the time in the tower before Zahard and stuff arrived. So if that's what he's talking about, we may have a lot more to learn about the tower when it comes to this war, or from the time before Zahard even arrived and established his kingdom. So I think this opens the door for a lot of new possibilities in Tower of God. Same with the whole him mentioning guilds thing. Other than FUG, which is a religious organization, and the 10 families, the RED, stuff like that, that's under Zahard's kingdom, and of course Wall Hike Song, those are the only things we know about groups. We don't know much about guilds or anything, but it does make sense that rankers would join together in teams or guilds, so maybe it might be more interesting to learn more about that in the future if that's what SIU chooses. Both of those statements, the fact that it came from before families and guilds, like presumably before the 10 great families, and the fact that guilds are sort of a thing in Tower of God, both of those statements could like be foreshadowing for big future developments in the series. So the fight with the Purple Dementor pretty much ends with Pedro firing the Purple Dementor's high-density Shinsu blast, and Yuri counters and destroys it with the Ha family special technique, the red Hadoken red velvet sword. I think that's what it was called. It was something Hadoken. Oh, duh, it was just Shinsu Hadoken red velvet sword. But still, that was a really cool attack. It was really cool to see that and to see all of the different sorts of attacks that Yuri does. I like her basic punching attack that creates the explosions that she used at the very beginning. That was really cool. And we go on from there to have the hand-to-hand fight between Pedro and Yuri, and I thought that was probably the best looking part. I really like the effects with the movement that SIU drew, and I think that it was very well done. The hand-to-hand fight between Pedro and Yuri was very well drawn and choreographed. I guess that's a word to use there. I thought it was also interesting that during the hand-to-hand fighting, Yuri mentions that the way Pedro's fighting, he could possibly be strong enough to be a royal guard to Zahard. And he's like, I'm flattered, but I'm trying to kill you here. So I thought that was great. That was nice to see. It really made Pedro seem like more of a threat. And it ends the chapter and the fight with Yuri delivering a nuclear punch, which was an uppercut that sent Pedro flying. So I think that Pedro's still going to come back. We haven't found out enough, I think, about his whole Death Eye sober... Is that a sobriquet? Does that count as that? Is he a high ranker? I may just be being stupid here. I guess he is a high ranker, because I think the Death Eye was a sobriquet. So, yeah. Pedro, I think he's still going to be coming back. I think that they're trying to make us think that Yuri took him out that quickly, but he's still going to be coming back. And honestly, my thoughts on this episode, the art was good, but it was hit and miss. The action was very good, but the progression was we got the entire fight nearly in this one chapter, and it was a very good fight. I loved the way it was detailed, and I think lately SIU has sort of been shortening fights a lot, and I don't like that. Like, the Angel and Yeon fight was very short, and the Elliot and Bomb one happened off screen, which I know me and my friends that read Tower of God were pretty damn disappointed in that. So I like that we got to see the entirety of the fight, and that it was this detailed, so I like that, definitely, but I would have probably given... I'm going to give this a certain score, and I think that it would have gotten even 1 point higher than this if we'd seen just a little bit of Go to Hell thrown in there as well, just to check in on that. But since the entirety was nothing but Evan, Yuri, and Pedro, and the fight was all that we had, I think I took it down a point because of that, because that's all we had. What we had was great, but I would have liked to check in on the other important things happening right now. So yeah, in the end, I thought it was a pretty good bottle chapter, so to speak, and I thought the fight was satisfying. So that's pretty much my basic thoughts. I think I'm going to give this one 8 Hadoken out of 10. So, yeah, 8 out of 10. I probably would have given it... Why do I keep trying to say Caven? I probably would have given it an 8.5 out of 10 at least, or maybe a 9 out of 10 if we would have checked in on the Go to Hell story as well. So, not checking in on that at all was really limiting to it, I think, but it was still really satisfying and enjoyable. It was a good fight, and it was nice to see a good fight in Tower of God again. So I definitely approve of this chapter. 8 out of 10 is a good score for me, and I think it was really a good chapter that is fun to go back and reread. It was a good fight. I think that's about it. Like if you guys like this video, comment down there, tell me your thoughts on my thoughts of the chapter or your thoughts on the chapter itself so we can discuss this stuff. Let's see here. Subscribe for at least 3 videos a week of Tower of God, The Walking Dead, and One Piece. 3 videos each at least, sometimes 4 or 5 if we get a lot of content or there's something to talk about in particular. So yeah, at least 3 though. And follow on Twitter for updates in case I need to tell you all about anything if a video gets pushed back or like canceled. Again, that sort of stuff shouldn't happen very often, but the off chance it does, I want to be able to let you know. Or if you don't care about being told about when it's being pushed back, then don't follow, I guess. I mean, it's just an optional thing there for you guys if you want to know what's going on. So I think that's it. Thank you all so very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time.